So, you're a new direct support professional in California? Welcome. You're about to become a vital part of a system with a lot of moving parts. This explainer is designed to be your guide, your map to navigating it all. So let's break it down together.
First things first, let's frame your new role. I want you to think of yourself as a navigator. The developmental services system, well, it can feel like a really complex map at first, but this guide is going to give you the compass you need to effectively and confidently support individuals on their journey.
You know, every great navigator needs a North Star, right? And this promise, this is yours. This is the core principle from a huge piece of California law called the Lanterman Act, and it is the why behind every single thing you do. And remember this isn't just a nice idea, it's a legally protected right.
So here's our game plan. We've set this up to give you a really clear roadmap of the whole landscape. First, we'll look at your compass, the Lanterman Act. Then we're going to map out the entire support system, cover the rules of the road, get into the details of the personal roadmap known as the IPP, and finally, we'll pinpoint your specific role as a navigator.
Okay, let's dive right in. We are starting with the Lanterman Act because it is the absolute foundation for this entire system. Seriously, if you understand this law, you understand the why behind every task you'll ever perform. What's so essential to get here is that the Lanterman Act isn't a set of suggestions. Nope, it is a state law that mandates this entire support network. It actually establishes a civil right, an entitlement for individuals to get the services they need to live more independent and productive lives.
Now, with that foundational why in place, let's zoom out and start mapping the territory. This is going to help you see all the different players in the game and understand how they all work together to deliver on that big promise of the Lanterman Act.
This pyramid is a fantastic way to picture the whole ecosystem. See how the Lanterman Act is the bedrock, the foundation, and all these layers of support are built right on top of it. But what's the most important part? Look at who's at the very peak, the individual. This whole structure, all of it, exists to support them.
So this chart shows you the practical flow of that support. It starts way up at the state level with the Department of Developmental Services, or DDS. They provide leadership and funding. Then, that support flows down to the local level to one of 21 regional centers. Think of these as the main hub for intake and coordinating services. And that brings us down to the service level. This is where vendors, like the agency you work for, provide the direct support. This is exactly where you fit in.
And please remember, you are not alone in this. There's a built-in safety net of some really powerful advocacy agencies. Groups like the State Council on Developmental Disabilities and Disability Rights California, well, they exist specifically to make sure that individuals' rights are protected and their needs are always met. Okay, let's move on to the specific rules and regulations that are going to guide your day-to-day work. You can think of these as the rules of the road that ensure safety, quality, and consistency all across the state. You are going to hear about two key sets of regulations all the time. On one side, you have Title 17. That comes from the DDS, and it sets the rules for regional centers and vendors, stuff like eligibility and funding. On the other side, you have Title 22. That comes from community care licensing, and it's all about the physical home you work in, focusing on health, safety, and all the facility standards. As a DSP, you've got to have a good working knowledge of both. Now, these rules apply across a whole spectrum of community homes. You'll work in places like standard community care facilities, or CCFs. And there are also more specialized options, like community crisis homes for urgent situations, and enhanced behavior support homes for more intensive support. The goal is always to find the right community setting for that individual to succeed. Okay, let's zoom way in now on what is, arguably, the single most important document you will ever work with, the Individual Program Plan, or as you'll always hear it, the IPP. If the whole system is a giant map, the IPP is the personalized, turn-by-turn route for each person you support.
It is so crucial to think of the IPP as much more than just paperwork. It's a living, breathing document. It's a written agreement that's co-created with the individual. It spells out their hopes and their dreams, and then it lays out the exact supports needed to help them get there.
This whole process is driven by something called person-centered planning, and this approach, just like you see here, puts the individual right smack in the middle of everything. Their needs, their preferences, their choices, that's the focus for the entire planning team, which includes family, service coordinators, and, of course, you.
The IPP itself has three main components. First, you have the goals. These describe what the person wants for their future. Next up are the objectives, which set the time frame for actually achieving those goals. And finally, you have the plans. These are the concrete, step-by-step actions detailing who will do what and by when to make it all a reality.
So, we've looked at the law, the system, the rules, and the plan. With all of that context, let's bring it all home and get crystal clear on where you fit in and why your role as a navigator is so absolutely critical to this entire process.
You are the boots on the ground. You are the key implementer of the IPP, the person bringing that plan to life every single day. You're the observer, tracking progress and noticing when needs or preferences change. You're the advocate, encouraging the individual to use their voice. And you're the coordinator, working with the whole team to make sure everyone's pulling in the same direction.
And woven through all of those duties, through everything you do, is your ultimate responsibility to uphold the individual's fundamental rights, all guaranteed by the Lanterman Act. These are not privileges. They are universal rights, the right to dignity, to privacy, to access to care, and the freedom to be a part of their community.
So, what do those rights look like in your day-to-day work? Well, it means fiercely protecting their confidentiality. It means ensuring they have access to their own personal clothing and items. It means supporting their right to make private phone calls and to receive their mail unopened. Your job is to make these rights a daily reality.
When you boil it all down, your mission is so much bigger than just providing care. It's about empowerment. It's about advocacy. It's about being a skilled, knowledgeable, and compassionate navigator who helps people chart their own course and champions their right to do so every single day.
So, this is the beginning of your journey. You have the map, you have the compass, and you have a destination that is centered on the individual's dreams. The impact you are about to make is truly immense.